Hello and welcome to another session of Office Hours. My name is Adrian. I'm the CEO and founder of Groundhogg. Office Hours is our time set aside to help our users with their burning questions and help them overcome our obstacles in their Groundhogg implementation. So if you're using Groundhogg and you have an obstacle, this call is to ensure that you can overcome said obstacle and launch your funnel, grow your list, and scale your business. Today we're going to be focusing on the topic, which I'm going to call the easiest way to increase engagement, which is a 5 or 6 step funnel that I actually talked about earlier today. So we're going to re-go over the implementation of said funnel and dramatically increase engagement over a period of time, and it's going to just be super simple. And then we're going to go into our Q&A period, obviously, and continue from there. This session is being recorded and will be posted to both YouTube and Groundhogg Academy. So please be sure to watch out for that. We actually just went through our backlog of office hours and posted all of those to YouTube, and they'll be also posted to Groundhogg Academy soon enough. So make sure to go check those out as well on our YouTube channel, which is, Groundhogg WP on YouTube. And if you have any questions at any point during the stream, you can pop into chat, which I am monitoring on my right-hand side here. So if you see me not looking at the camera, it's because I'm looking at chat, looking to see if there's any questions. Let us know that you're here. Just go into the chat and type hello and let us know that you're calling in today. If you have any questions, that's where they go. So let's talk about the easiest method, which is what we're talking about today, the easiest way to increase engagement. So earlier today, I did a webinar with WP Tonic and Jonathan Denwood, and we talked about 3 simple strategies that you can implement immediately today in your membership website to maximize profitability. And I think it went really well. The replay for that is currently available in the Facebook group. If I go to the Facebook group, replay of that is actually just available right here. Should be here somewhere. Here it is. So WP Tonic Show shared a live video. This is the replay of said webinar. Feel free to go ahead and review that. One of the funnels that we'll be talking on today's office hours is part of that. Let me go ahead and open up my demo funnel. And I'm going to here. So the particular funnel that I'm going to be demonstrating or showcasing as the easiest way to increase engagement on your membership site or your LMS site is the login abandonment funnel. So the login abandonment funnel is a template readily available directly from the funnel templates page here. So it's right at the top, number 2. We can go ahead and we can start building that. And essentially what this funnel does is, let's say someone registers for your membership, they log in, they consume a whole bunch of content, or maybe they don't consume any at all. They log out, and then several weeks go by, they see the charge hit their credit card. They have no idea what the charge is for, they don't recognize the company name, and now they just go ahead and they issue a chargeback or they cancel because you did not follow up with them over that time so that they're actually familiar with your product and they haven't actually logged into your content or your profile or their membership area in a long time. The login abandonment funnel is meant to resolve this common membership problem with just a few email notifications and like 5 or 6 steps. So let's just jump into it. So the way that this funnel starts is it starts whenever somebody logs in. So when someone logs in for the first time into their membership, this funnel is activated. And then what we have going on here is we have a delay timer. Now the delay timer waits 7 days. You can set it to 14, you can set it to 30. It's a variable date timer, so you can really choose how long you want the delay to be. But essentially what then happens is, since we're waiting this period, if they log in again within that time frame, within that 7 days, then this funnel actually restarts, so that they get put back to the top of the funnel and then are queued up to receive all the email notifications again within that 7-day period, unless they log in again. So it's kind of like this infinitely recurring system here. So we wait those 7 days, and if they don't log in within that 7-day period, then we send them an email notification asking if everything is okay and why they're not logging in. So an example of what that email might look like Hi first, it's been a while since you've logged in last. Is everything okay? We'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. If you're having trouble finding anything, just let us know or log in now. We have a big orange button or big red button asking them to log in and go to their member profile or their member portal. That way they are familiar with us, and when they see the charge next on their monthly statement, they're not going to be surprised, and they're going to know that it's us and that they actually remember signing up for your service. Especially when you're doing business to consumer type products and membership, it comes super important to always be top of mind. People are busy. We lead busy lives. We have lots of stuff going on. You know, mom called, or the dog is sick, or whatever. Like, there's so many things that can happen that you have to constantly be fighting for attention. This is especially true for business to consumer markets. If you're doing business to business, it's less relevant, but still probably a good idea. So we have our email notification. It goes out after 7 days. We're going to go ahead and we're going to mark that as ready. We can go ahead and update it, and we can then close that notification. We then can set out a series of additional reminders based on our delay timers, and we can space them out. So for example, we have a delay timer for 3 days here, and then we can send an additional email that says, come back, we miss you. And you can send as many of these notifications as you want until you're basically going to write it off as a lost cause. I typically recommend 2 to 3. This funnel comes with 2 prepared. You can duplicate them and just use the same email if you want, or you can spice it up a bit. Maybe tweak the CTA or the call to action. But this, if you have a membership site, is pure freaking gold. I highly recommend that you go install this funnel as soon as possible and watch your engagement rates skyrocket and your churn go down, especially chargebacks and cancellations that happen direct at the payment gateway or at the credit card company, because that's what's most common. Right? If people actually log in to go cancel their account, then that makes sense. But when you get those chargebacks and you get cancellations directly from the credit cards, that's no good. We want to prevent that. This will help you prevent that easily. And it also creates that consistent weekly engagement, which is going to turn this person into a long-term customer that is going to be really hard to get rid of. Or rather, they're going to find it very difficult to leave because they're not going to want to. And that is the easiest way to increase engagement with your membership or LMS content almost immediately overnight. And that is the login abandonment funnel. Again, to go install this funnel right now in your site, you are going to need the advanced features extension, and that will provide you access to the login abandonment funnel. So go check that out. And that is pretty much all I'm going to cover on today's topic, which is the easiest way to increase member engagement. We covered a ton of other engagement and membership prolific strategies in the webinar that was earlier today with Jonathan Denwood. Again, the replay for that is available in the Facebook group. And what I'll also do is just grab the URL to this, if I can. Copy URL. How do I copy the URL? Copy link. So I am going to paste the link to go watch that particular video in the chat for anybody there. So we have reached the Q&A portion of today's call. I see a few people on the chat, or a few people, at least the number of people on the chat seems to be going up. So if anybody has any questions or would like to share some roadblocks that they're currently experiencing with either Groundhogg or other products, I'd love to hear those. You can go ahead and you can type those out in the chat area, and I will then be able to repeat the question live here on the call and then answer it accordingly. And while people hopefully do that, I am going to take a drink because my throat is super dry. So I'm not seeing a ton of activity in the chat here. We do have a lower than a usual attendance rate, probably because I forgot to send out the office hours reminder this morning. Just goes to show you how powerful reminder emails are. So I think what we'll do in the absence of questions and the absence of engagement, what I will do then is I will go over a couple more of the strategies that we went over this afternoon with Jonathan, and go through those and the implementation of those and why they're useful. So one of the other funnels that we talked about in the webinar earlier today was the benefit of having a customer onboarding process. Now, when a new customer comes on board, there's a lot of hand-holding involved, and I feel like most businesses forget to invest in what comes after the sale, and all of their investment goes into what comes before the sale. So the landing page and the advertising and the conversions and the pop-ups and all of that fun stuff. And we neglect the customer onboarding process post-sale. So the onboarding process, the customer portal, all of that fun stuff. That stuff is equally, if not more important than the stuff that all comes pre-sale. Because, once you get the customer, now you are responsible for providing the customer the success that they were promised. And a lot of that comes down to, well, can you actually deliver the goods that you promised successfully? I mean, even if it's just a software product like us, there's a lot of training and a lot of indoctrination that has to go into that process in order to ensure that someone can successfully implement Groundhogg. If we just kind of drop them and say, all right, here's your license fee, go nuts, that is not an effective customer onboarding process, and that would probably end us up with a ton of refund requests, which we don't want. So how do we solve that? Well, one of the ways that we can solve that is to have a customer onboarding email series. If you've signed up for Groundhogg in the past, you have received this onboarding series. And we actually have a funnel to help you get started with this particular email series. It's called the New Subscriber Welcome Funnel. It is right here at the bottom of the templates page. So just go ahead and click on that, click Start Building. It'll open up the funnel editor here for you. What we can do is we can either start this funnel off with a web form or one of the new subscribers. So whenever a user registers, you can pop in the appropriate user roles there. We can apply any tags that we want in order to apply this person to various different lists that we have, or various different tags. So right now here I just have one for the general mailing list that we blast out to all of our users. We then go through our confirmation email process, and basically we want to get their explicit consent to continue to send them marketing information. We want to also remain compliant with CASL and GDPR if you're operating in either Canada or Europe. So that's all well and good. You can tweak this to specifically pertain to whatever the product it is that you're requesting confirmation for and the specific email onboarding process. So let's go ahead and close that. Once you go ahead and you mark that as ready, you update it, you're pretty much good to go. Here's where the good stuff comes in. So after they confirm their email address, this is when we want to start the actual onboarding process. This is when we want to start sending the relevant information. So depending on the size of your product or your platform, you may have various, what I'm going to call, points of interest about your product. So in the case of our software and Groundhogg, the various points of interest would be documentation, it would be Groundhogg Academy, it would be the Facebook group, it would be getting the plugin installed, it would be setting up your first funnel, the support area, where to upgrade, all of those various different points of interest, which may or may not be easy to find. We're basically going to let this person know that they exist in advance over a series of days. So your initial welcome email is basically just one that is a catch-all. It's a let's get acquainted email. What you're going to do in this email is you're going to introduce yourself. You're going to remind the customer of your value proposition. So the reason why they signed up in the first place, for example, for Groundhogg, it's we're going to help you launch your funnel, grow your list, and scale your business. So we started Groundhogg to help you launch your funnel, grow your list, and scale your business. That was our value proposition. That was our promise to the customer. We are going to reiterate that promise to them. And then we're going to say, now that we're acquainted a little bit more, we're going to give you something to do. And this is going to be a direction to your first point of interest. So if you run a Buddy Boss membership site, this might be go complete your customer profile. This might be go join a group. This might be go provide your interests. So you're going to choose a point of interest out of the overall customer onboarding process and give them that singular CTA to do in this email. Part of the things, or part of the issues that some companies do, or some of the issues that I see that a lot of companies have rather, is they try to jam too many things to do in a singular email. One of the things that a lot of companies try to do is they're like, here's your checklist of things to do. Now, depending on the size of the checklist, that can seem rather daunting, and the customer might end up just writing that off immediately because I don't have time to do that right now, I'm going to get to it later, and then lo and behold, they never get to it later because there's so many distractions in life, and they get distracted and go do something else. That's not what we want. So let's choose a singular thing to do. We'll keep it bite-sized, we'll keep it low time, low commitment, and that way over a series of days, we can get them to do everything that they need to do. So the first thing we should do is, absolutely now that you're a member, is go join the Facebook group. So this is one of our first points of interest, is our Groundhogg user Facebook group. We send a lot of people to go join that to us initially so they can see everybody else's progress. They can get questions answered by other people, and it makes support really easy, and it lets them feel as like they're part of the community and not just like a singular person off on their own. We don't want that. We want them to be ingrained and involved and feel like they belong as part of our community. That's what we want. So we have them go join the Facebook group, and that is their one thing to do. We want to make sure that we establish the time commitment for this process. If they think that joining the Facebook group is going to take a long time, they're going to say, I'm going to do that later. So for each point of interest, you want to give them an actual time commitment so that they can justify and say, yeah, I'm going to do this now because I have the time to do it. So I'm just going to say it only takes a few moments or a few seconds. And that way we qualify the time commitment, so they just click a link, it's boom, bada bing, bada boom, it's done, and they are in the group. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna mark this as ready. Go ahead and update that. Obviously add your relevant links. You know, we don't want to send an email out with no links in it. We are going to then add a delay timer for 1 day. And we are going to send an additional email. This email is going to be our second onboarding email. So we're going to say something like onboarding 2. And now, you might have guessed, we talk about our second point of interest. So in this case, they've joined the Facebook group. Our second point of interest might be Groundhogg Academy. Go register for a course on Groundhogg Academy. Take the Quick Start course. We're going to use the subject line, launch your funnel in 1 hour. I always find that using either questions or results-based subject lines work better. So the result of taking the Quick Start course would be launch your funnel in 1 hour or get your first funnel launched. If we use that as a result, that creates the intrigue or the curiosity of, well, how do I do that? You know, what's the process to doing that? The alternative subject line method is obviously to just use questions, and that way you kind of just like give them the question that they're asking and then you provide the answer. So how do you launch your first funnel would be an appropriate question for onboarding here as well. I'm just going to use the results-based one for this though. So we're going to say, hi first. Here is the process of getting your first funnel launched in less than an hour. What this does is it also qualifies the time commitment for this particular point of interest. Register for the free course here. And then you'd obviously put your link to whatever your point of interest here. In this case, the Quick Start course would go there. You can add any additional relevant context to this email as you want underneath, but onboarding emails aren't meant to be super long and have tons of content and be blog posts to read. Those are reserved for other kinds of email. For the onboarding process, it just needs to be super quick, simple, and get your customers in front of the various different values of your core offering. So Facebook group, academy, documentation, etc. In your case might be groups, profile, courses, etc. And that is what the onboarding process is for. So after you have your second email, update it, make it ready, go ahead and close that. And then you can continue to add an additional series of emails, one email, keep them short for each point of interest. And this will dramatically decrease the number of support tickets that you get that say, I'm confused, I don't know where to start. This will dramatically increase your engagement rates with your various different assets. So your courses, your groups, your Facebook group, whatever you're using. This will dramatically decrease the amount of refund requests that you get because people actually knew how to start and get started and consume your content and really engage with it. This will dramatically decrease the amount of churn that you experience over a series of months because people were properly introduced to your offering and to your content. So that is the customer onboarding process. There we go. And I think I'm going to leave it there for customer onboarding. If there are any questions, now is the time to pop into the Q&A area of this stream and let us know if you have anything to say, anything to share, you have any concerns, any questions about how all of this works. I'm not seeing any questions come in. We do have a smaller audience today. So I think what we're going to do is we went over those two funnels again. So customer onboarding and login abandonment. We also covered those and other great customer retention and membership retention practices earlier today on the call. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end office hours early today because seems to be, people must be busy or they must be all webinared out for the day, which is totally understandable. So for anybody who was on the call today, I want to thank you for taking the time to join it with me. We are going to have another office hour session next week, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are going to cover a different topic and hopefully answer a bunch of people's questions. So thank you for joining me today. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their week.